So here's the thing. A housing market is a notoriously difficult thing to predict. But when you start to look at the local housing market like San Diego County, you pull in the local data, the history, the boots on the ground experience, then you start to have some success looking into the future. This is a long way to say I have the 2025 details for you right here. If you don't know me, my name is Dan Park with the Best Life Home Team, your San Diego real estate resource and realtor here in San Diego County. And for this video, I'm going to kind of throw all the caution out the window and give you exactly what I think you can expect here in San Diego in 2025. So if you want to know if this is going to be a good market to buy a house, if it's going to be a seller's market, if foreclosures are coming, you're going to find out in this video. Let's get into it. But first, before I tell you where we're headed, I need to give you a little bit of backstory about how we got here. So starting with the biggest impact on a lot of our lifetimes is the housing market crash in 2008 and 2009. And I'm not going to get into all the details there, but I'm going to tell you there are two major results of that housing market crash. Number one is that there are now way more strict lending practices to ensure that we're not going to go through the same thing that we went through back in 2008 and 2009, because that was really caused primarily by the lending, really poor and manipulative lending practices that cause people to default on their homes. So when we're looking at the market today, there are fewer people that are at risk of default because there are more strict lending practices. The second huge impact that we had from that era has to do with a slowdown in new construction being built across the United States. Now, on top of this national issue with new construction, San Diego also doesn't have a lot of new land to build on. So a lot of what we're seeing are these small infill projects. I call it infill because it's like 10 acres versus 100 or 200 acres where you can build a bunch of row homes. You can build a huge master plan community. We don't have a lot of space for that left, especially when you're talking about the city of San Diego or being central in San Diego. And then you add the state regulations on top of that make it incredibly difficult, risky, and expensive for investors to build these developments. Now we're in a situation where we've had a very huge slowdown in new construction, homes being built, to the point where it's nowhere near catching up with the amount that we need. And basically from that time, we've had a strong seller's market where home values have gone up every single year until we got to 2020, 2021, where it felt like there was a lot of uncertainty. But what ended up happening is instead of the market slowing down, instead of prices coming down, fewer people decided to sell, and the demand that was there was skyrocketing the home values. So even though we were in a situation where rates started to go up, in 2021, 2022, 2023, we really started to see rates start to go up. The home values had already increased so much that this was majorly impactful for everyone around the county that wanted to buy a home. So where we're at today is the highest home values that we've ever seen. So around $1 million for the median home in San Diego County. We only have 4,500 homes for sale, where we really need closer to 10,000 homes for sale. Combine all this with the fact that 2024 is going to see fewer than 4 million homes sold nationwide, which is the first year that we've seen that since 1995. In 1995, we had 266 million people living in the United States, and today we have 336 million people living in the United States. All of this leads me to my very first of 4 housing market predictions for 2025, which is the 2025 housing market is going to steadily ramp up from January until May, and not like we've seen in recent years, at a much stronger pace. This means more homes for sale and higher prices. And a lot of this has to do with the very last thing that I talked about when it comes to the history of the housing market here in San Diego. In the last especially in the last 2 years, we've had so few people buying homes. Demand has basically been at the lowest that it can be, more or less. Think about there were more homes being bought and sold in the 2008-2009 housing market crash than there were this year. And so that means there's a tremendous amount of pent-up demand from people that want to buy homes, but also people that want to sell their home. They need a bigger home because their family is expanding. Maybe they want to downsize. Maybe they just got married. There are a lot of life circumstances where people want to move, but they felt stuck the last couple of years. And this is the year where they're going to find the opportunity to finally pick up and make that move. Now, if you would have asked me a couple of months ago what I expected to happen in 2025, I thought that from day one, January 1st, we'd see this crazy demand that was just going to last throughout the course of the year and just continue to pick up and build. What I'm thinking now, because of where rates are at, we thought rates were going to start coming down. They haven't really. They're back up to around 7%. That we're going to see this slowly and very steadily ramp up from the beginning of the year until the peak of the summer selling season, which a lot of times we see the amount of homes for sale, the amount of demand out there peaking around May to June. So I really think that that's what we're going to see. And it's also important to note that I think this is going to be a fairly healthy combination of both buyers and sellers. So I don't see home values being like a runaway off ramp that's just going to go crazy. But I do think we're going to see that steady increase. We're going to see more homes, more home options for sale. And the most competitive homes are going to be very, very competitive. So as a potential buyer, just expect that you're going to have more options, but you're going to have to compete more for the homes that you really like. And my second prediction for 2025, and to be honest, this isn't really even much of a prediction. We're already starting to see it happen, but there are not going to be any more new construction single-family homes from here on forward. Let me give you some perspective here. Out of the roughly 10,000 new construction homes that are being built on an annual basis here in San Diego, around 95% of those are going to be some form of an attached property, leaving only around 5% of those for single-family homes. So that means 95% of those new homes that are coming are either condos, townhomes, apartment complexes that are just for rent and not even for sale, ADUs. That's what we're seeing the majority of when it comes to new construction homes. Now, sure, you're always going to be able to find some single family homes if you go way far out. If you go Otay Ranch, Otay Mesa, if you go up to Vista, Valley Center, Temecula, they still have some land for these. And throughout the county, we will see little pockets of luxury $2 million plus single-family homes being built in, 10 to 14 home developments. So we're talking really small infill projects. So moving forward, just expect if you want a single-family home in San Diego County, you don't have $2 million or more to spend, you need to look towards older homes. And I get this request all the time. People want new construction homes. I totally get that desire. But if you want the lifestyle of living centrally, if you want to live in a nice house, I think you should be open to an older home. A lot of our single family homes in the city of San Diego especially were built in the 50s to the 80s. And a lot of those homes have been completely redone from top to bottom. That's why flippers are really, really common here in San Diego. There are a lot of flipped homes or a lot of renovated homes because there are fewer new construction homes to choose from. You at least want to feel like you're moving into a newer home with, complete with upgrades that are more modern. And that's mostly what people are looking for. Prediction number 3 is that rate drops are going to happen much slower than expected. If there's one thing that we can plan for from this point moving forward, is that the experts, when it comes to interest rates, have been completely wrong the last couple of years. This year in 2024, the projection was there were going to be 7 rate drops from the Federal Reserve. We ended up with 2 rate drops. Now, granted, one of them was a 50 basis points, but only 2 reductions in the Fed funds rate. And during that time, we've actually seen mortgage rates jump up by about a full percent. And why do we expect that to happen? I would say a big part of the reason is because of who won the presidential election. Trump won. And it doesn't matter what you think of Trump. The market got confidence in the economy when Trump was nominated to become president. Strong economy means there's no need to lower rates to stimulate the economy. It's kind of a catch-22. If we really want lower mortgage rates, if we want the Fed funds rate to really drop at a significant level, we need a slower economy. We need there to be fewer jobs. We need people to be losing their jobs, which is very counterproductive to like what we all want, which is a strong economy and lots of opportunities out there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes to rates in 2025. But we're certainly, it's extremely unlikely that we're going to see rates in the 5s this upcoming year. It's extremely unlikely unless something crazy happens with the economy and the Fed really needs to stimulate the economy. But it's unlikely based on what we're seeing. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell has been very clear that they're keeping a close eye on all economic releases for signs of slowing. They're going to keep looking at the data. They're going to look every single time we see new jobs data and economic data to dictate what they're going to do moving forward. They've been very clear on this for the last couple of years, and that's what we can expect moving forward. And prediction number 4 is a simple unknown of what's going to happen with this new presidency. 2 big things that come to mind is number 1, DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Let's see how impactful they're going to be. But if there's going to be, a lot of the job growth that we saw in 2024 had to do with federal government jobs. So if that starts to reverse, if they really have an impact on making the government more efficient, they're going to be potentially cutting jobs. I mean, who knows if they'll even be able to make that happen without congressional approval. We're not going to get into all that, but there's a lot of unknown there. There's also a lot of unknown with Trump pushing tariffs. And these 2 things, they could potentially be good for the economy in the long term, but more than likely, they will be very bad for the economy in the short term. So Who knows? Who knows what all this is going to do with the global economy, the nationwide economy, and then our local economy here in San Diego. And so although I'm extremely confident in the predictions that I gave here today, if you look back on my channel over the last 4 or 5 years, I've actually gotten it right a heck of a lot more times than I've gotten it wrong. I'm confident on what we're seeing moving forward, but the trajectory of where we're heading on a national and global scale, I think it just adds enough unknown that it makes it impossible to truly calculate what's going to happen. So here's my advice on whether you are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in 2025. And really, it's simple. Stick to the fundamentals. If you're buying, can you afford the payment? Are you planning to live there at least 2 to 3 years before selling your house? Ideally, you want to plan to live there at least 5 years plus before moving. If you are PCSing to San Diego, if you're moving here with the military and you know you're going to be here 2 years, that's not a real safe amount of time to be able to own a house and be able to sell it for a profit. Yes, I think prices are going to go up, values are going to go up, but there's a lot that you have to consider with closing costs, both buying and selling, realtor commissions. There's all sorts of things that pop up. So stick to the fundamentals. Can you afford your house payment? It maybe even be a little bit uncomfortable with the payment, but just know that you can make it work. And the final determination on whether the financing and the budget is going to work is really up to you. So how comfortable are you with that monthly payment? Understand that the only reason affordability might come down, or affordability might go up, I guess, more affordable homes, is if rates start to come down. Because it's extremely unlikely at this point, the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to see home values decrease at any significant level. If you're considering selling your house, whether in San Diego or somewhere else, but you're so uncomfortable leaving that 2.5 or 3 or 3.5 and 4% rate, ask yourself this. If rates are still above 6% in 3 to 5 years, what are you going to do? Sure, I expect rates to come down over time. We still believe rates are going to continue to come down, but I don't think anyone anticipates we're going to see a rate below 5% in the next, especially in 2025, but maybe not even in 2026. I think pretty much across the board, everyone agrees that 3% rates are a thing of the past. If rates are the same, if your decision on whether or not to sell is going to be the same in a couple of years, then maybe it would be worth considering selling now. And again, on the buying side, you need to make sure that you're comfortable with that budget, or maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but you're confident that you can make those payments happen without substantially having to change your lifestyle. If you want more information on your specific situation, that's exactly what my team and I help with. Feel free to reach out. You can click one of the links or call us below, 619-719-1122, and we're happy to talk you through this process and help you figure out whether it makes sense or not to buy or sell at this moment in time, or whether it makes sense for you to wait a little bit. And who knows what a little bit means. Maybe it means a year, maybe it means 5 years, maybe it means 10 years. But everyone's situation, their goals, their objectives are different. And you have to consider all that when you're deciding what to do moving forward. I'm regularly putting out analysis of the market so you know exactly what's going on with some boots on the ground approach. So if you want some more of this, make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video. I'd appreciate the heck out of it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.